an email to his colleagues. Epstein is poorly versed in jail routine and society, and his adjustment to incarceration will most likely be atypical. For the time being, I am authorizing that his cell door be left unlocked and he be given liberal access to the attorney room where a TV will be installed. During his plea negotiations, Epstein, with the help of his lawyers, created a brand new charity, the Florida Science Foundation. It has cushy offices in West Palm Beach, and Epstein files a request with the sheriff's office for a work release. He claims he needs to be at the foundation's offices Monday through Saturday to fulfill his responsibilities as the head of the foundation, which consist of finding worthy causes to fund. The sheriff's office grants Epstein work release privileges. For his entire sentence, he's permitted to leave the jail for up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, chauffeured back and forth by his private driver. Acosta's office catches wind of the work release and complains to the sheriff. Besides the fact that Epstein shouldn't be eligible for work release in the first place because of the charge of soliciting a minor, Acosta's team lays out all the ways Epstein's employment was clearly a ruse. But the sheriff ignores Acosta's complaints and allows Epstein to continue the work release program. Epstein's foundation pays $128,000 directly to the Palm Beach Sheriff's Department, a tax-deductible donation to cover the cost of the plainclothes guards who accompany him most days. During this period, Epstein's allowed to go home to his mansion several times. After serving 13 months of his 18-month sentence, a time when essentially he only was in jail to sleep at night, Epstein is released. While he does have to register as a sex offender, he moves back into his mansion. He gets back to business. Within a few years, the arrest and his jail time will be little more than an asterisk. At the time of his jail sentence, some of these details are known to the public, but many are not and won't be for another decade. Not until the Miami Herald publishes its investigation in 2018. Julie K. Brown tries to interview Epstein numerous times for her story, but he ignores her requests. After nearly 2 years of reporting, Julie K. Brown's 3-part series on Epstein's victims and the inside story of his sweetheart deal goes live on the Herald's website on November 28, 2018. The series is called Perversion of Justice. Brown, her editor Casey Frank, and their colleagues track the article's progress on a digital board in the newsroom.
Which looks like almost like a tote board at a racetrack. And the Jeffrey Epstein story was stuck at number 2 on our traffic board, and it was behind the number 1 story, which was a crazy, absurd little thing about a woman passing gas in a bar and somebody getting upset with her and her pulling a knife on that person.
But as cable news and other outlets start talking about the series, it hits number 1.
From that point on, it just took off like a rocket, and it never really subsided.
And the impact of the Herald piece wasn't only measured by readership and website traffic. It's April 3rd, 2019, on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., nearly 5 months since the Herald story was published. Secretary of Labor Alex Acosta appears before members of Congress in a House subcommittee hearing. There's a far different feeling than at his nomination hearing 2 years earlier. Representative Catherine Clark of Massachusetts lays into Acosta, whose responsibilities as part of the president's cabinet now include combating sex trafficking.
Epstein and his friends destroyed these girls' lives. Senator Ben Sasse called Mr. Epstein a monster. Would you say that's a fair characterization?
He engaged in vile crimes, yes.
You're a law professor, besides many of your other jobs that you've had, and I'm sure you know there's no such thing as child prostitution under federal law, only child sex trafficking. And each offense under 18 U.S.C. 1591 carries a sentence ranging from 10 years to life in prison. So logically, Mr. Epstein, with the investigation of the federal U.S. Attorney's Office, should have been looking at a potential sentence of 360 years at a minimum. But that's not what happened, because there was a power dynamic here, wasn't there?
And then, on July 8th, at a press conference in New York City, spurred on by the Herald's reporting.
Good morning. I'm Jeff Berman, United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Today, we announce the unsealing of sex trafficking charges against Jeffrey Epstein.
The U.S. Attorney stands beside a poster board with Jeffrey Epstein's mugshot and the words, U.S. versus Jeffrey Epstein.
Epstein was arrested this past Saturday evening at Teterboro Airport aboard his private jet that had just landed from Paris, France. Epstein was taken to the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan.
This time, no one is going to allow Epstein to leave the jail for 12 hours a day.
The United States Attorney's Office will take the position that Epstein should be detained pending trial.
4 days after that, beset by more questions about his role in Epstein's non-prosecution deal, Secretary of Labor Alex Acosta joins President Trump on the White House lawn before Trump boards his helicopter.
And as I look forward, I do not think it is right and fair for this administration's Labor Department to have Epstein as the focus rather than the incredible economy that we have today. And so I called the president this morning. I told him that I thought the right thing was to step aside.
Why did you accept his resignation? Mr. President, why did you accept his resignation? Why did you accept his resignation? Why did you have a falling out with Jeffrey Epstein and keep his man in from Mar-a-Lago?
Yes, and I did have a falling out a long time ago. The reason doesn't make any difference, frankly, but I haven't spoken to him in probably 15 years or more. I wasn't a big fan of Jeffrey Epstein, that I can tell you.
There's no way that he would have been arrested. There's no way that Mr. Acosta would have lost his job. None of this would have happened if not for the work of Julie Brown.
As Epstein finally faces justice, his life comes under more scrutiny than ever.
There's a lot still to be learned. There's a lot still to be investigated, and we're not done. And anybody who thinks this story is over with is insane.
The layers of his past will be peeled away, including the mystery of how exactly he managed to achieve his wealth, and how he was able to fill up his little black book with the names and numbers of some of the world's most powerful people.
A very simple question. Who is Jeffrey Epstein?
Who is Jeffrey Epstein? Who is in his inner circle and has been for the years?
I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years.
The mystery of Jeffrey Epstein's wealth has never been clarified.
He started out as a Dalton teacher, right? A teacher at the private school in Manhattan.
That's on the next episode of The Mysterious Mr. Epstein. This has been part 1 of 6 of The Mysterious Mr. Epstein. On the next episode, we'll look at Epstein's origins, from modest beginnings in Brooklyn to Wall Street millions. And if you like stories of far-reaching scandals, listen and subscribe to my series American Scandal, where we tell the stories from the Enron financial fiasco to the Elliot Spitzer political drama. This story is about power, abuse, and manipulation. If you'd like to help us spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your friends to subscribe. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CastBox, and every major listening app, as well as Wondery.com. This series deals with issues of sexual violence. If you or someone you know is a victim of sexual assault, reach out for help. In the U.S., you can contact the National Sexual Assault Hotline by calling 1-800-656-HOPE. That's 1-800-656-4673. Or you can chat anonymously with a hotline staffer by messaging the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network at online.rainn.org. The Mysterious Mr. Epstein is hosted, edited, and executive produced by me, Lindsey Graham, for Airship. Sound designed by Derek Behrens. This episode is written by Michael Canyon-Meyer. Additional reporting and research by Alyssa Jung-Perry and Heather Schroering. Associate producer is Caleb Bissinger. Executive producers are Jenny Lauer-Beckman, George Lavender, Marshall Louis, and Hernan Lopez for Wondery.
Just off the highway south of Oklahoma City, there's a little zoo. They've got chimpanzees, a camel, lions, and tigers. Lots of tigers.
I can promise you that you're going to get so close to tigers and lions that some of you are going to be peed on before this is over with, okay?
But the star of the zoo isn't any of these animals. It's the guy who runs it.
Are you the guy?
Yep, he's the guy. That's the Tiger King.
Is he a cowboy?
He's a gay, gun-carrying, country music-singing former magician.
Hey, I'm Joe Exotic, otherwise known as the Tiger King.
And the zoo is his kingdom.
Between taking care of all these animals and babysitting my employees, things can get a little crazy around here.
But for all his swagger, Joe is afraid. Not of the lions or the alligators, but of something else. Or someone.
This dumb bee down in Florida.
Some bitch down in Florida.
Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin down there in Tampa, Florida.
She's a sick bitch.
Joe and Carol both love exotic animals, but there's not much else they agree on. And their feud is pushing them to their limits.
And you want to know why Carol Baskin better never, ever, ever see me face to face. Ever, ever, ever again. That is how sick and tired of this shit I am.
From Wondery, the network behind Dirty John and Dr. Death, the hit series Over My Dead Body returns with Season 2, Joe Exotic, a story about two people who want to save animals and destroy each other.
Tell me his name now. I'll put him 6 feet underground.
My question is Carol Baskin really this powerful?
He's not the problem. Turn that gun around.
You really got to call me back. He was actually talking about paying someone to kill you. He tried to get me to do it.
That was kind of like the time that I really realized that I truly was working for the devil.
Over My Dead Body, Joe Exotic, is out now. Subscribe today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
There is nothing on this planet that is more wicked than a bobcat. They can go from purring and cuddly to just wanting to kill you in the flash of an eye.